Hello, humans! We're back for another exciting episode of Thurstatoes. Still on Thursdays. I briefly, now that our scheduling on our channel has changed, I'm like, what if I moved it to Wednesdays? And I'm just like, kind of ruined it with the title.
Thurstatoes?
Thurstatoes now on Wednesdays.
Yes. Brought to you by.
Yeah.
So.
Why is it called Thurstatoes? It's like it'll be one of those like there's a whole bunch of like we have a whole bunch of actually art stores here where it's just like they were originally like opened in one place. It'll be like the Kensington Art Supply, but it's no longer in Kensington. It's like in this like I don't even know what the neighborhood's called. It's like way in a different place. Same thing. Like Inglewood Art Supply. It's like in Kensington. Like all this stuff. It's just like I feel like this is the Thurstatoes. It's just like I locked us into a day and now we're gonna Thurstatoes. Now on Wednesdays.
It's like this restaurant. One of my favorite Mexican restaurants is called Miguel's. And the family, it was originally a family restaurant and they sold it, and then I ended up knowing the owner of this restaurant and they have a fast food chain as well. And it's like, but the owner's name is like Brian Cohen or something like that, So it's like we bought the restaurant,
Where's
So
Miguel?
it's like exactly. It's like where's Miguel? Miguel retired. He's gone.
So, some white guy coming out with a super stereotypical, basically mariachi outfit.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, that's a little confusing, but.
Yeah, I feel like that's common too when people just like buy something or it's like under new management if it was 100% if it was named after someone.
Yeah,
but
people know it. It's been in the community for years. It's like if you suddenly change the Mexican restaurant to be Cohen's, like, what?
So. At least I feel like some people where it's like Burger City, it's just like Italian food. Like I feel like that's what you got to change those ones.
Hey, it's Lou.
Hey,
Hi, Lou.
Lou, I feel bad. I was terrible at monitoring the comments last week, and I feel like I just ignored all your. Or I didn't feel like I just did. I just didn't see them all your comments. This is why NEM is crucial.
Yes.
I can only do so much multitasking.
I'm not allowed to draw. I must monitor comments. So.
I feel like if there's both of us doing it, we could do it. But like, you should draw. So, next time, fix all your stuff.
I apologize to everyone for not being here last week. My AC literally blew up. So,
which is so crazy.
Fixed. So, the compressor on our AC, our outside thing, it literally blew up, like smoke and flame and everything. It was crazy.
Like shrapnel?
It tore apart the whole unit.
That's wild.
It's insane. It was like, luckily we were there, but my wife and I were outside and we heard this noise. Like, what in the world? It sounded like, it didn't sound like a huge, it was like a pop, and then you heard these horrible grinding noises. We ran around and there was smoke. And so we ran and turned off the electricity and everything. And there was flames. So we put it out. But I was like, oh, this is a first. So, and of course that was when it was getting hot. So.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's wild.
Oh wow. Yeah, I told Corey I was really, really hot. So it was like when this show starts, it's 8:00 here, and I think last Thursday it was 95 degrees Fahrenheit at 8:00 at night. So I was like, I'm either not going to do the show tonight or I'm going to be doing the show in as little clothes as possible. And I thought I would spare all of you.
Family friendly.
Yeah, exactly. That's not for anybody. So.
Like growing up here, like we never had air conditioning because it like wasn't really important. We'd have like 1 week a year that was like so hot you needed it. Mm-hmm. And like in my last house, we finally brought an air conditioner because it's just like the summers are just gross and hot now. And now I'm in a new house with no air conditioner again. But the basement's nice and cold, so that's like I got the hoodie again. Whereas like upstairs, same thing. It's just like no clothes.
I mean, I feel weird because it's like when I was a kid, we couldn't afford air conditioning, so we had like a unit that we only turned on. It was like one of those ones that went in the window, and we
Yeah.
turned it on like when it was super duper hot because we couldn't afford it. And it's like
Yeah.
back then where I live, it was hotter because this was before California instituted all their air standards. So I live in a valley, and all of the smog and stuff used to come in from LA and then sit in the valley where I live, and it was like a greenhouse. So it would get like super hot and the air was bad. Literally, they told us, all of us who grew up here in the Inland Empire, that growing up here was the equivalent of smoking like 2 packs a day with your like lungs and everything. It's like we would have, you know how some people have school snow days? We had smog days. Like your lungs go out and run, your lungs would actually hurt. It was that bad. So
we get that with like smoke now, where you like, it's like, don't go outside.
It's crazy. It's like, it used to be, I remember we would go up into the mountains for camping and stuff, and you would give above a certain elevation, and all of this like smog and everything would sit in the valley, and you get up and it would look like a giant brown lake sitting, you couldn't see anything down below. It was so gross. So
yeah,
luckily it's so much better.
Yeah, we have a few of those days still, just with like the inversions or whatever they're called, where it traps all the brown layer over the city, and you're driving into the city and you're like, all right, this could be a healthy day.
So I mean, it sucks that our gas is so much more expensive in California, and a lot of that is our legislature, which is a whole other thing. But the stuff that cleaned up the air that we paid for, like that extra refinery costs, I'm not going to complain because it was bad. It was really bad. I remember I was a swimmer and we practiced outside all the time, and you would get done swimming and it felt like somebody like was just like pounding on your chest for 2 hours. So it hurt so bad.
Yeah, it's aggressive.
Oh, Paul says my cousin lives in Mount Baldy. Mount Baldy is beautiful. So love Mount Baldy.
Know nothing about Mount Baldy.
It's let's see. If I live here, this is the San Bernardino Mountains, right up here with San Bernardino, and then this is LA over here, and Mount Baldy is like right there. So it's like there's this whole series of mountains that kind of curves around like this and separates the desert from LA and everything. So Mount Baldy is part of that range. So
fair enough. Look at this. We're learning geography. We're learning meteorology. All of the ologies.
Yes. Today we will not be drawing. We will be studying air climate, climate change, and air quality in the Southern California Air District.
Well, first, here's a chart of clouds, and we're going to identify cloud types.
Are you going to draw clouds? No.
This is a cumulonimbus that someone else has drawn.
Yeah, I agree, Paul. I love it up in the mountains. It's hard to get up there, and cool. I'm the only one in my family who is not afraid of heights and stuff like that. And most of the roads up into the mountains are like 1-lane highways or 2-lane highways. And if you're on the outside, you're literally looking down like a cliff. And it goes back and forth. I'm also the only one that doesn't get motion sickness. So taking my family up into the mountains is not good.
Oh yeah, fair enough. I get a little motion sickness. My kids, man, it's just like I don't even want to like my parents out and my brother have this like cabin in a lake. Like it's like it's a 4-ish hour drive away.
Yeah.
And like one of the first times taking my son out there, he puked 4 times on the way there. It's just like every hour, and in a car seat, just little like I'm just like. And we had like so much we lost track, and like my daughter, she was just like, how many times did we puke? She was something like, she's like goldfish, peaches, cheese strings, goldfish, 4. It's based on like what he puked up. Like gross.
One of the worst things about getting old for me or older for me is like when I was a kid, or even like in my 20s, is like I could go on roller coasters ever. I go upside down, back, forward, no problems at all. As I've gotten older, my ability to like be upside down for long amounts of time or anything like that, on a roller coaster, like is going like further and further down. Like this sucks. No
I
one.
had like I took my son, they were like my kids were registered in gymnastics, and I was trying to I like showed my son how to do a somersault, and I stood up and I was like dizzy. I'm like,
Yeah,
what? I'm like, oh, is that a thing now? Great, great.
and you're
Uh
looking at life going, wait, I didn't sign up for this. Come on.
yeah, yeah. Where it's like sometimes you dance too hard and you're like, man, I'm dizzy. No more
Or,
busted moves.
well, I've officially reached the point. My wife and I laugh at each other because there's nothing else we could do. We'll get out of bed. Like I got out of bed the other day and I pulled a muscle in my back. Just,
Yeah, fair
what?
enough.
Come on.
Huh. All right, before we get into ranting about being old, which is like
Yes.
a forever show. We also have a show on this channel. I gotta do the housekeeping. If you'd like to, if you're interested in drawing, eventually we do that. So click like and subscribe, and there are other fun things on the channel. If you're a consumer and enjoy books and comics and all of the fun things, if you go to asapimagination.com and type in potato at checkout, you get 20% off of all your products. And the final thing, viewer discretion is advised. We're live. It's a horror-based show, so the show is intended for audiences 10 plus. If you're 10 and under, shame on you. No, not shame on you. Just viewer discretion advised. Make your parents check things. Yeah. Oops. I guess I need to actually take that notice off. Yeah. I don't know. I was gonna say for those who tuned in last week, we had a guest, Benjamin Morse. Morse was like that was his last name, and he chose a fan art prompt of the New Warriors, which I knew like absolutely nothing about. Nem, are you a New Warriors fan? Do you know about them at least?
I know about them, so I like the New
Not
Mutants more than New Warriors, but okay.
fair,
Okay.
but yeah. So originally when we were talking, he said it was going to be he wanted to do it potato themed, and I was like, just because the show's potato themed, you don't have to draw something potato based. And so he was like, oh, okay. So he drew a normal one, but he never actually confirmed that he was like not going to make it to potato based. So I made mine potato based. So I drew all of them as potatoes.
I
This
saw
is like
that.
this is a cover from Wikipedia, to be fair. It's like if you type in New Warriors, this is the main cover that comes up, not potatoes, but that's like all the characters.
I think that's absolutely awesome. I saw that last week. Honestly, Lori, I think you've got a new revenue stream because I would pay for a commission of you drawing a Justice League cover as potato.
Just as potato.
Yes.
It's interesting because I was like telling Ben last week, because like you can't, like, because they're potatoes, so you can't, there's only so many things you can do, so it's like it's really based on like their costumes. So like, because again, like some of them, like she was this color, so that was easy enough, but then like she has this big weapon, and then like this one, like obviously she's not green, and this one is like so Ninja Turtle like that I'm just like, but then it's got like a cape, and then like, yeah, we're in like, oh, I'm doing this backwards, and this guy, like, the reason his top is yellow is just because he has bright yellow hair. so like, and then this guy has like a little like Spider-Man, Deadpool kind of vibes and stuff. So I don't know, it's fun.
I need Hell Tato. The Tato version of a Hellboy with a gun that's
so 100% I got off of the show, and because I don't remember if I started coloring on them on the show and then spent a half hour just like finishing it afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I 100. So like typically with my stickers, I don't color them because I just have a black and white printer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like maybe I have to like draw, maybe I don't know, maybe I do prints of like superhero characters or something, or draw and like color them, or I don't know, maybe I break my rule and just start ordering prints of things. I don't know.
Do you know Spawn?
I do know Spawn.
Yeah, we need Spontato too.
Spontato. Well, and again, because it's just like it'd be like again, because like that guy reminded me of like at the start. Obviously, it changed a little bit, but it felt like I was kind of drawing Spider-Man at the start. Like he's got the same eyes, and then like that one green. Like I didn't even remember all the characters' names. Like I can't remember. Like that's how much New Warriors meant anything to me. I'm like, I guess I'll just look at pictures and try and copy them as potatoes. But like the little green one was very much just like reminded me so much of a Ninja Turtle. Tater playing
Dog
cards.
taters playing cards. So
Dog taters. Just recreate. Oh my goodness. I
yeah,
don't want to. Do I want to lean that hard into being a potato artist?
you could really do fine art. You could be like Starry Tato, you know?
Yeah. Like the Potato Lisa.
Instead of the
I'm
David,
trying
you start doing sculptures. Instead of the David, you do the Tato, you know?
I'm trying to think of like all like sculptures. One day we're just gonna do a show where I'm just carving a potato into the David.
Yes.
Anatomically correct potatoes.
Potato architecture, you know. Notre potato, you know, Notre potato.
Yeah. You know, and what is it? Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where they're like all like using the mashed potatoes, to, like. Or are they using that, or is that The Simpsons that just uses mashed potatoes? Now I can't actually remember.
Mount potato bar. There you go.
Mashed potato. Then I need to figure out some way to preserve it and then sell it for millions.
It's a whole potato world.
But this again, where it's just like I want to like also get better at other kinds of art. So I'm like, how hard do I want to lean into potato?
It's over, Lauren. Found your niche. That's it.
I really typecast myself as an artist here.
Potatoes and rabid babies. That's your future.
Which is funny because I don't draw any rabid babies because they're too people like. That's too much work. Tater and
rabid baby potatoes. So, you know. Oh God! NFTs. There you go.
I refuse. Are NFTs still a thing? I feel like they were such like a flash in the pan, and then
everyone does like potatoes undressed on Tater OnlyFans. You know, so you skin the potato very slowly. You know. Now
excuse me. Should have muted myself for that. Duct tape a potato to the wall. Oh my God, your OnlyFans thing about just sensually peeling the potatoes. Anyways, family friendly. Get away from that. Get away from that one.
Duct tape a potato to the wall. Hey, you know, yeah. If it works for bananas, it'll work for potato. So
I don't know the banana thing. Like I'm aware of, but like, what is it? I've seen like the duct tape banana to a wall.
I don't remember which museum.
What's the history?
I think it was the Met in New York, but I could be wrong. But there was an art installation, and one of the art exhibits was a guy duct tape a banana to the wall, and he gave some BS artist, you know, explanation of what it was supposed to symbolize. And some guy bought it for like, I want to say $500,000. It might have even been more than that. And then paid the artist to install it in his house. The dude showed up, it got money for taking a banana and duct taping it to the guy's wall. You know, it's like I'm in the wrong business.
So it's not hanging up a canvas. It's literally just duct taping another banana to the wall. And a real rotting, perishable banana.
Yes. It's like, when you hear stories like that, you're like, we're in the wrong business, you know?
We're in the art business. People love overspending on comics, don't they?
Tater's OnlyFans already taken. Well, now I'm going to search for that after the show. So.
I'm concerned that Paul's already searching. I don't know what the screen handles. Is that what they are? I was almost like domain names, but like that's not Tater. Tater OnlyFans.
By the way,
I don't want to know.
This is one of the kittens. We were very imaginative with their names. This is Gray. He's a gray cat. This is
yeah.
Say hello, Gray. Yeah.
I like the name.
He
I
is
have.
almost 4 months old.
I think it's funny because like so my kids have like a lot of plushies. And I think it's funny the different stages because like, there's a stage where like the parents name all of them and they're like clever or quote unquote clever. Bought a banana for 15.
Ate the banana. Hey, I
For
don't know.
$15? That
The
doesn't seem
harvest.
like that's a lot of like the modern like oh man, I went to a modern art exhibit when I was like 22 or something. And it
Yeah.
was like one of the coolest like the whole like a modern art museum and it was like one of the coolest things I went to.
Mhm.
Like it stuck with me to the point where I'm like I would love to go back to that museum. But a lot of it is like it has that weird kind of you're like is this art but like it's experiential art. It's like
Yeah.
it's interesting. Like one of them was literally like you sit down on like there's like a whole bunch of chairs and it's like just a slideshow of like someone's vacation. 15 million. That
Billion.
makes more sense. I feel like you missed a very important word there. Like I would pay $15 and eat a banana. It's not like a good use of my money, but
$50 is a little overpriced, but
yeah,
compared
that's a
to
very
15
expensive banana for
million,
like one of the cheapest foods there is.
yeah, 15 billion. That's a whole other situation. So,
If someone paid me $15, I'd eat a banana. So
yeah, I don't know. That's kind of stressful
again,
for me. I hate bananas, so
yeah. You know what's weird? I don't mind bananas to an extent. I'm gonna start drawing as we talk about our hate loathing of bananas.
okay, problem.
Otherwise, we're fully random commenting as we always do. Just so everyone knows, I'm gonna try and draw some anatomy tonight. I feel like last time when I was drawing faces, I was giving people like try and give people tips and stuff, but I don't have any. I can explain a little bit of what I'm doing, but I have the same books as last time. I still have this one. I'm gonna reference a little bit. The How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. It gives like some information. I thought one of my favorite parts that I was reading through it, there is one. It was talking about drawing men versus women, and it was using Sue Storm and I assume
Yeah,
Mr. Fantastic. But Reed Richards is Mr. Fantastic, right?
mhm.
Um, yeah, but it was just there's this one thing where it's like, obviously we do not emphasize muscles on a female. I'm just like, how old is this book? It's just like I feel like that's like yes, that was like women were like drawn more softly and all that stuff. But I feel like there a lot of female characters are drawn with like legit muscles and like definition now.
Yeah. I
Maybe
think
that's
it
more just
depends,
indie
though.
again.
I mean, half the guys that are drawn though look like John Cena, which is unrealistic, you know. So it's like there aren't many women that are drawn like that. They're drawn fit, but more. I don't even know what to say. They look
Yeah.
like women, you know, versus the dudes. They look like dudes too, but it's like,
Like everyone's just kind of the Hulk.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
But like a lean Hulk. I'm gonna show this here. I found this website. I thought it was pretty cool. This guy gives a whole he has like YouTube channels and stuff, and you can sign up and get like more stuff. But basically, like he has a whole bunch of just kind of worksheets and stuff, and like stuff you can like go through. So like you can click on like the torso, and then it's like how to draw the torso, and there's this like YouTube channel, and then it's like all this stuff. So I was kind of just gonna walk through this. It's kind of my plan. Just draw random things. He uses like a lot of boxes and breaks things down. So just gonna experiment.
I did
So
that
maybe
Sue Storm exercise a while ago, and it
yeah.
all turned out pretty good, except for Sue Storm's hips. Man, that woman had no badonkadonk. That's all I'm saying. I was like, man, I did her
Yeah.
bad. I did her dirty. So
Yeah, fair enough. All right, you figure out where I need to draw. 'Cause whenever I draw this, I'm like just jump all over the page, and I'm like never drawing on screen again.
Paul says the
Um,
$15 to watch you eat a banana on OnlyFans is already taken. Paul seems to know a lot about OnlyFans. That's all I'm saying.
is it the 50? To be fair, that seems a little more channel appropriate.
Yeah, it
Anyways.
does. Oh, we've got another visitor. This is Gripper. So
Oh, I thought you meant in the chat for a second. Griffer.
yeah,
That seems a little more original.
well, He does until you realize he was named because he likes to jump up and grab on and hold things. So
Oh, like Gripper with a P?
with a G, Gripper, Gripper. So.
Oh yeah. That's what I figured.
And then the third cat's name is Cheese. So
Cheese. And is that because he likes cheese?
he's a cheesy boy.
He's cheesy. I can't really judge. When I was little, oh yeah, I was going with like my kids drawing plushies, where it's just like there's like yeah, I feel like there's like the parent naming when it's like you give like a lot of ours was like alliteration, or it's just like Lenny the lemur and Tony the T-Rex and all this stuff. And then like once the kids start naming them, it's very much like they have a dog plushie and what's his name? Dog. It's like you have a cat stuffy. What's his name? Cat.
One of these days, I'd like to write down some of the stories I told my kids growing up. I made this whole like fantasy world up based on some of the kids, plushies. And so
Yeah.
I started with my son, and my son had a plushie of a moose, and this used to make him giggle all the time. I told him a story about Marty the kissing moose, who was at questing nights. So, the moose would always kiss him goodnight and everything, but it was like one of those things.
Yeah.
But in reality, I have come to learn that moose are not nice. They're not friendly. So
Yeah, they can be quite aggressive. I feel like they're like we have quite a few of them here. I feel like they're kind of, to me they were kind of remind me of hippos, where it's like there's like some African animal like a lion. A lion's going to be dangerous, but I feel like a moose you kind of assume it's not going to be dangerous to some extent. Where it's just like, no, it's dangerous.
yeah. Lou says I had a guinea pig named Gripper. Cool. Did it grip you? Now I want to know why the name. It's always weird though. It's like I've never seen a moose. I've never even seen a moose in a zoo, but it's like, so I guess I'm more concerned about moose than maybe, someone who's around them all the time, but it's always like that. It's like, I remember somebody from Australia telling me they were afraid of raccoons. I was like, really?
Nah, not a raccoon.
Yeah. It's like, you live in Australia where everything can kill you. So.
I guess it's just one of those things where it's just like you learn like what you actually need to be afraid of and like what you can kind of do. Like there's like certain things where like here you generally like don't have to be overly afraid of bears, but if you get between a mama bear and its cub, you dead. like there's no surviving that.
Lou says her guinea pig squeezed her fingers. That's cute.
Aw.
Yeah, it's like rattlesnakes. People that haven't grown up around rattlesnakes, are like deathly afraid of rattlesnakes. And basically, if you leave the rattlesnake alone, it'll leave you alone. So.
Yeah. Well, again, like we kind of had like rattlesnakes. We have rattlesnakes here, but still, like if I ran into one, I'd still just be like, I don't think I'd have the best reaction. I don't think I'd be super normal about it. Pardon?
Do you have rattlesnakes up there?
Yeah. Not necessarily like it has to be like, I'd say specifically where I am, it's a little too wet, I guess. But like there's, if you go east, it gets drier and more deserty, and like there's like Dinosaur National Park and stuff, and like there's for sure rattlesnakes and sketchy spiders and all that stuff over there.
I mean, we've got around where I live, we've got bears and coyotes and mountain lions and everything, but it's like, for the most part, they'll leave you alone. It's like, actually, there are wild mules around us, and they're protected by state law now, and they basically go wherever they want. They're like the biggest hazard on the road. They just wander out, like hang out in the road. Like, they're kind of cool, but at the same time, it's like, can you get out of the road, please? So.
Yeah. I feel like everything that, so like, I don't know if other people have like drawn a lot of anatomy, but like, I feel like that this one went right into boxes, where I feel like there's this really common thing where you kind of like, you really do these like sticks, where it's kind of like the head, and then you have like the shoulders. But I feel like a lot of people also like do the where the joints are, like do this or whatever.
I do that,
and then like I don't know. Like I know there was one time I did this like like I don't typically draw people, which is like probably a mistake. I don't typically draw people with like um doing this first. I'm just like draw the face. Like I just start going hyper realistic right off the start rather than getting the shape down. And I feel like that's a mistake. And I know there was one time I drew like a Sailor Moon, and I basically followed kind of like this method where you like get the legs first and just like the general body shape, and then you like start filling it in. And it ended up like working super well. And I was one of those things where I'm like, man, I should like probably do this, and I just never did. It's like,
Wow.
man, this is like a really like effective method. That really worked. Like she looks just like Sailor Moon.
Actually, I think I used the wrong term. They're donkeys. I always confuse the two. The mules are the ones that are what? A combination of a horse and a donkey. So, and they're sterile. Yeah, it was like, I don't know, like in the 1800s, people used mule or donkeys for all sorts of stuff through like the 1950s. And then they let them roam wild in the canyons and stuff around here. And they're protected now. So they've like become a whole herd of like wild donkeys, and they kind of just roam this whole area. So Paul says, I encountered a rattlesnake in Utah 50 years ago. Scared to live with. They can. I remember when I was in the Army, my buddy and I decided to do a real bonehead move and cut across a swamp, to save ourselves walking like 3 miles. And it took much longer to go through the swamp for like 500 yards than it would have been for to walk around. And I stepped in a copperhead nest. And I'm glad I had combat boots on with steel toes, because I got bit like 5 times. And both of us were up in a tree waiting for the copperheads to go away. So
yeah.
not fun. So,
yeah.
It was. I just have to imagine it was funny though, because there we were, 2 soldiers, armed, with weapons and everything else, scared up in trees, hiding from some rattlesnakes. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Lou says, I haven't seen a rattlesnake in Texas yet. I have to say, I'm disappointed. No Texas rattlers, man.
You're disappointed. I feel like I'd be okay with that. Oh no, no poisonous snakes.
Lou says, wonky donkey. Give it time, Lou, says Paul. Lou says, I saw a live rattler in a museum in England when I lived over there. It's cool. I don't know. It's like people who don't grow up around or aren't around them all the time, it seems like it's one of those animals that has a bigger reputation than it deserves. So I don't know. Probably it's like it makes the rattling sound and everything. So
yeah. Well, no, I think of course that's like the thing that's like horrifying. Is that like little thing? It's like,
also,
of
I
course.
haven't left the house in 15 years.
Jeez, I haven't left that. At the rattle, you know what? Stuff can get into your house.
Well, it's like
that's
scorpions.
Like yes.
Be afraid of scorpions because they just look nasty. They're mean. But...
So there's this old movie or oldish movie that I saw when I was young. I can't think of it. It's basically an alien movie. And this woman, I think, dies in her bed because some scorpions get in there and sting her. And I think people put them in her room. But it's basically, it's an alien movie where their knees bend, the aliens, their knees bend backwards. And like they look like humans, and all of a sudden their knees just like go like, and they turn into like ostriches or whatever. And they just like, and it's like, I remember it's like the movie, like I don't remember much about it, but I just remember like the scorpion scene and then like their legs switching backwards. And it was like, it's like a weird, creepy little movie.
The weird thing about
nothing about.
It's one of those animals where like the smaller a scorpion is, like the deadlier the venom is, which is like counterintuitive. So
I suppose that seems to be kind of the case in like insect world though. Like it's like the smaller, like it's just like, oh, this thing has a big disgusting abdomen, and it's just like, yeah, it's not poisonous, don't worry about it. It's just like, oh, all right.
Lou says, I love snakes, tarantulas, and lizards, all the things. Cool. My son used to have a snakes, and then I was the one that ended up taking care of the snakes all the time and feeding them and everything.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
One of the little things ended up being not so little, and it like bit and hung on to me, which was fun. So
Yeah.
my wife was surprised at how calm I was. I was just sitting there bleeding everywhere, like calmly trying to get its mouth off me. And then went to a nature center where it educates children. So.
I remember, so again, where it's just like something that like stuck with me from a kid. When we were little, so we went to this like dinosaur national park for like a trip, and one of the things like this whole town, like the whole town of Drumheller, which is where this is basically dinosaur themed, which is like fun. Like there's this dinosaur like statues and like gift shops and stuff everywhere. But there was a reptile museum that we went to for some reason as well. And I remember the guy specifically saying that he was afraid of cows. And then for people it's like cows, and he's just like, yeah, they just stand there and like chew, they just like stand there and watch you and chew. It's like I don't trust. So much so that I have taken this guy's fear of cows, and it shows up in, oh, I think it shows up in Sister Grimm 4. I think it's a Sister Grimm 4 script. That no, there you go, little teaser that I haven't released yet.
I have never met a cow. I want to. I think they have the cutest faces.
You've never met a cow?
Oh, I would love to. So, and I've like worked on farms and stuff. I've been around all sorts of different.
Oh, that's weird. How have you never met a cow if you've been like? What kind of farms have you worked on? Obviously not
goats,
ranches.
Sheep, horse ranch, chickens and stuff. But I've never met a cow. I've seen cows from a distance. Never met one. So.
Fair.
They look very. I don't know if
take yourself to a petting, even with your kids, eh? Like no petting zoo or anything like that.
Let's see. Paul says, "I'm a giant wuss, terrified of all the critters." Oh.
Oh. That happens.
I have to say, I don't think I'm scared of any animals, but there are quite a few animals where I'm like, I appreciate the animal. I think it's beautiful, but no way in hell are you going to get me. Excuse me. Heck, are you going to get me in the water with a shark, for instance? So it's like.
Oh, I've gone scuba diving with sharks before. Yeah. Like I've done the kind of scuba diving with sharks where they chum the water, which is like not a very like ethical practice. Not a lot of places do that, but they like threw in just like a whole bunch of like dead fish parts and stuff, and like the visibility was like so like for the kind of, I think it was reef sharks that we were looking for or something, but like they typically need kind of murky water for like them to swim, but like the visibility was too bad, so we actually like literally just were down there and saw nothing. And I think the fact that the visibility was too bad would have been horrifying, because like you're supposed to have like visibility for certain things, so you should be able to see the shark coming, whereas I think if it had showed up, like there's a chance it was there the whole time and it was just like, but it just couldn't see it because it was just like too sandy. Which is like the creep you're thinking of. And I know like a lot of people are afraid of the ocean because like even me, I prefer scuba diving because like you can see under the water and see what is under the ocean as opposed to just swimming on top of the ocean, because then your mind starts just being like, what's under the water? You just picture Jaws music all the time.
The closest I've ever been to a shark in nature, we went canoeing around an island called Catalina Island. It's like, I don't know, like 50, 60 miles off the California coast. And on the west side of the island, it's all kelp beds and sea otters and stuff. And then there's lots of sharks there. Yeah. So we're going around the island in our not little, they were like 10-person canoes. And one of the sea otters had gotten out of the main kelp bed. He was still attached to the kelp bed, but it drifted off. And all of a sudden we see this great white come up and just take it and gone. So I was like,
like stuff that's intense.
Paul says scorpions. No way. And then he says, Lori, can you draw a scorpion? Scorpion potato. So. Scorpion.
Of course I can. One of the weirdest requests when I was at a con, someone asked for a snake, but he's like, do you have any snake potatoes? And I'm like, I do not. And I was just like, that would actually be a really weird one because like snakes are inherently skinny. So I'm just like, Just drawing Jabba the Hutt,
You know what you have
basically.
to do for that? You got to get a bunch of tater tots and line them up.
So like human potato. No, I guess that's not potato centipede. It's just be
Yeah.
potato centipede. Again, horror based show for discussion advice.
Oh gosh, that movie. Lou says I've been bitten by more fluffy things than scaly things. Yeah, fair. Although I have to say, one of the worst animal bites I've ever gotten was from a horse.
Oh yeah, horses are vicious, man.
Yeah, horses can be little punks sometimes.
Yeah, 100%.
Lou says maybe a Mortal Kombat scorpion potato. There we go. Get over here. Who said that? Get over here. Look at it.
Finish him.
Paul is very happy with that idea. And then he goes, Lou says sweet potato with a snake potato. There you go. It's a sweet snake potato. Oh, what a good boy.
Oh.
Oh.
I've moved on to trying to draw feet, by the way, everybody. Just which I actually was gonna not do this, but I don't know. Just I was gonna do like hands and feet as their own thing, but I'm just letting this guide take me where he wants to go.
You know, not being able to draw the feet should be an actual like disability you can claim. I had to go to a psych eval when I was going in the army or going to West Point, and they asked, one of the things they asked you to do is draw a self-portrait. So I could draw feet. I could draw everything else. I couldn't draw feet. So I drew a little wall to hide the fact that I couldn't draw feet. So my guy was behind a little wall. And the doctor was like, it's like, obviously you feel really conflicted in your life, like something is blocking you and you can't move forward. You know, there are barriers in your life and in your personality that are preventing you from progressing as a person. I was like, no, dude, I just can't draw feet.
I really just can't draw feet. Oh, I just realized I drew the wrong foot on this person. Drawing two left feet, literally.
It kind of goes back to the modern art thing. It's like, I don't know. It seems like a lot of jobs, probably every job to a certain extent, at some point, part of it is just being able to BS your way through it. You know,
100%.
Lou says, I always try and draw hands and feet. I'm not scared.
I ain't afraid of no feet. Dun, 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 dun.
You try and draw feet, you'd be scared. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
I found that this little like box method is working pretty well. Kind of. I think it's working all right. Like these feet are not the same size, and they I feel like I had a good reference for this one and then not this one. So I don't know. Feet are still hard.
The thing I always find
this is why we practice.
They tell you to do the drawing and then like create like dynamic poses and everything. And once I start trying to like do dynamic poses, like all of the body proportions get really wonky, you know. And a guy has a torso that's like 4.5 feet long, you know, and he's got
fair.
legs. So.
Yeah, fair.
Paul says he likes drawing hands and feet on OnlyFans. Paul, are you repping OnlyFans? Do you need to tell us something? Do you have a link you'd like us to throw up?
Yeah. This isn't no OnlyFans links. We're probably saying it too much, and it's gonna get like some algorithm's gonna be like, oh, they want OnlyFans links. I'm gonna have to be deleting links for the next couple of weeks.
I was listening to some business thing. It was like on in the background a couple days ago, and some guy was on there. I don't know if he was the person that created OnlyFans or he's an investor. He's like, oh no, people have a misconception about OnlyFans. We're for creators, you know, for people to go on. I was like, you can call it whatever you want, but what they're creating is, you know, I'm fairly certain that your average creator is, you know, who's creating like art or, you know, a writer, you know, you're not going on OnlyFans. So I could be wrong.
It is like, so once upon a time I did a post about like how like basically like anything can be art. Like
Yeah.
it is like even this like banana on the wall thing. It's just like part of me can understand how, like, I don't think that requires a lot of effort, and I don't think it's worth $15 million. But I
Mhm.
understand how there could again there's like something you're expressing by doing it, even if it's a total BS story. Like if you have a reason why you did it and we're inspired to do it, like I think that can be art. And I know like I kind of done like these show, it's always just like everyone is like anyone could draw and stuff, and a lot of people will be like, oh, no, I can't, I'm a bad artist and stuff. And it's just like even when you're like a kid and you draw like not like there'd be a lot of like people who'd be like that, like kids art is like objectively bad because they just don't like they don't have motor control. Like at the start they're just scribbling, and but like you're still always going to be like, oh my god, that's the most amazing art. Good use of colors. That's like you always like are looking for something positive to say. It's just like I think you just have to like create, like you have parents who are just going to be like good use of colors. It's just like yeah.
I,
It's just like
I think
I can do that.
I think the only criticism I have, obviously art is subjective, you know,
Yeah.
but like I'll give you an example, two different pieces of modern art that like I have very different feelings about. So I've been to a couple, like I went to the Modern Art Museum of the Smithsonian, I went to the one in the Met, I've been to some in LA. I mean, personally, I prefer like classic art, like the masters and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I saw this one where, like, from far away, it looked like nothing. It just looked like a white painting. It was all white. And
Yeah.
then when you get up close, the guy had divided the whole painting into squares and used different techniques so that each painting had different textures based on different kinds of brushstrokes and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. Like I really appreciated it, and it was really interesting. So it's like
Yeah.
the closer you got, the more detail you could get. And then I saw this other one where like there was even a video that you could watch of the guy making the art, and basically he just goes in there and just starts throwing paint buckets on the canvas. And I'm like, what does this really prove?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. And like I know there's like a lot of like I know there's this guy I found on Instagram maybe recently. I was like, I don't know, Instagram and Facebook are always so connected. I don't know where I find anyone. But
mhm.
basically he was like people are like, oh, he's not a painter, but he's like using paint, and he takes these squeeze bottles and he makes little mountains, and like some of them are like little tiny ones and like some are different colors, but basically he stacks paint drops on top of each other,
Mhm.
and then far away it kind of like creates some kind of pattern typically, but like people are like it's not painting, it's just like, but he's just like, but I'm literally using like literally, and like people in the comments are arguing too, it's just like he's an artist but he's not a painter,
Right.
but people are like, but he's literally using paint.
Well,
Like it's one of those things where I'm just like, it's interesting kind of just like people arguing over something that really doesn't matter, because I feel like in the end it's like, well, do you like it, is it worth something to you, does it make you feel something like.
I mean, that's very true. It's like, who am I to judge? If someone's going to pay for your art or whatever it is you're doing, hey, more power to you. So,
Yeah, well, again, like I had someone like pay for a piece of art, like it's the only art I've ever like sold like that it was just like specifically like obviously I'm doing comics and stuff, but it was just like a random piece of art when I was trying to do like Inktober way back when. So I
mm,
was like, can I buy this from you? I'm like, why? I was like, you can probably like, and like that was like my reaction is like, you can probably find a better version of this. And like it was just like, oh, like my like because I said it was like I'd done like basically like a fan art thing of like Wally and Eve, I guess. And I was
no,
just like, I guess.
it's like see, I'd be curious what you have to say about this. So I saw this guy, there's a account that I follow on X, and he was putting this whole thing up. And sometimes I agree with this guy. Most of the time I disagree with this guy, but I like to hear what he has to say. And he's a
Yeah.
comics person. And one of the things he said is like, at some point as an artist, a writer, whatever, someone who's creating content, you have to decide if you're going to make the things that you want to make, or if you're going to if you want to do it for a living, if you're going to make the things that people want to buy, you know.
Yeah.
I kind of see both sides of that issue.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was thinking about. I saw that actually this afternoon. So I was like, I don't know. I think that's a really deep thoughts discussion, but I think it was kind of an interesting.
Yeah. Well, I know even like so I've done a commission for one thing and I did not enjoy it because like I'm fairly amateurish in my opinion. So like every time someone came back and was just like, "Hey, can you change this and this and this?" and I'm just like, "Uh-oh." It's like I didn't do it's like, "Yeah, I can completely redraw this, I guess." So like stuff like that wasn't fun for me. It was just like I'm just like whereas I would much rather prefer to like just draw something and then someone's just like, "I love it. I want to buy that," as opposed to like do commissions for people. But again, like that's like kind of the extremes. I get that also you can like I can be so like again, where it's just like I can like trying to think. So I've been like watching my son still has nonstop diarrhea. So we've been watching a whole bunch of Studio Ghibli because I've never seen a whole bunch of them. Chips. Too clever. But yeah, but basically like there's like a whole bunch of and I like know people like really into Studio Ghibli, but it's like I like watch them and like I have some appreciation for them, but I don't have that like super big passion for it. But again, it's just like but I know a lot of people do, so it would make sense if I wanted to sell a whole bunch of art at cons or whatever to like draw a whole bunch of Studio Ghibli stuff because that means a lot to people. But it's just like, but if it doesn't mean a lot to me, like, do I really want to do it? Like, I don't know.
I love that chips idea, but instead of California Highway Patrol, it would be California Highway Potatoes. So.
Of course, California Highway Potatoes, the Potato Patrol. I think you just put two P's there. Chipapipis.
The chips going up against the Crips, and we'll have to come up with some acronym.
Chips versus the Crips.
No, it's like that even with writing. It's like I've talked about it before, but it's like probably the thing that I've had the most read was a series of like fan fiction stories that I wrote that were romance stuff. And like each of them had like 300,000 reads. And granted, they were free. No one was paying for it. But it's like, it's a lot more than the other stuff. But it's like, I'm not really interested in writing that, you know? It's like, I guess I try. It's kind of a saturated field anyway, though. So.
Well, and I know like people are kind of like romance is like one of like basically like a huge if you can do good romance and market yourself well, like you can be like make millions of dollars. Like it's like one of like the biggest like novel industries out there.
But that's the other thing. All right, I have to say this as I need your opinion as a woman on this one. So
as a woman, yes. I'm one of those.
It's like, but it seems really creepy and kind of stalkerish to write romance, which is predominantly consumed by women. So you're going to write it from the perspective of wanting to appeal to a female audience and writing that as a man. It seems really weird to me. So I don't know, you know.
I don't know, like, and I know it's kind of like how like women use like I use my initials not because like I'm pretending to be a man. It's just because like Laurie Cunningham is like, if you search that name, like this like really famous soccer player comes up for pages and pages, and I didn't want to compete with that. But I know a lot of like women authors used to use like the acronyms so people wouldn't like know that they were women. And I think, and I'm under the impression that some men do that if they're writing romance. But it is what like it's part of me is just like again, it's like if you're interested in that and you can like find an audience, it's like again, it's art. If it's like I don't know, like should it be like weird and creepy just because you're different? Like it should, in my opinion, it shouldn't be, but I can kind of understand what you're saying.
And I think you have to be fair too. It's like not all romance, like there's different kinds of romance novels, you know. There's the ones that are just smutty, you know, but then there's ones that are like romance, but they're, you know, some of them have some of the best like storylines and stuff.
Yeah.
Like fantasy novels or science fiction novels standing alone on their own, you know, they just have romance. romance aspects to them too. So
Yeah. Well, and it is one of those things, like, obviously, like, men experience romance, and, like, and even if they're, like, smuttier, like, same thing, like, that's not, like, gender specific, so but, like, I don't know if I would, like, all of a sudden, like, say I was, like, reading a book, all of a sudden I would feel weird if, like, "Oh, this was actually written by a man," like, if I really enjoyed the book, I'd be like, "Well done. Nailed it." So, I don't know.
I mean, I do have to say, it's like I haven't read a whole lot. I've read a few because my wife had them around, and so I read them.
Sure. Oh yeah, my wife. It just happened. It's like you and your Hallmark movies.
I,
I just my wife's into them, not me.
no, I freely admit I'm addicted to Hallmark movies, and also uh, I'm more into romantic comedies than my wife is. So you know,
Yeah, fair enough.
it's like one of my favorite genre of movies. So
Hallmark movies is your favorite genre. You know, I
yeah.
like feel like I've never really seen them for some reason.
Oh,
Like I don't
it's
know, they all just seem the same to me, and like they're just no name actors. That I don't know.
maybe I should write romance because I'm just a giant sap at heart when it comes to that stuff.
Sounds like.
You know, I refuse to watch like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. And at one point, my wife got me into watching one of them. Man, I was more into it than she was. I was like, that guy's a dick. He's like, she needs to throw him in her. He's a dog, you know?
Yeah.
Let's see. Lou says, when you do commissions, only offer 2 redraws, changes on the sketch. The customer will make sure they're clear on what they want.
So, so with that though, do you offer 2 free redraws, and then anything above that is just more money, or do you just like I'm only doing 2 redraws? Like that to me, because like again, it's just like if I know I've worked with like my artist on Babies with Rabies. He kind of had just like there was a certain thing where it's like he would do basically he would if there was too many changes or a redo, like even my cover on Babies with Rabies, I needed to ask him to completely redo it. He's just like, I'm gonna have to charge more. Because based what the one thing I wanted him to change, I thought it would be easy, and like again, I didn't know enough about like how people layer their art, and he's like, nah, he's like it's too integrated in the rest of the picture. He's just like, I'll have to like redo it all. I was like, oh, sorry, so sorry. It's like I gotta charge you a little, and he's like, I don't think he charged me for the full page because he could like kind of reuse some of it, but he's like, I gotta charge you like a bit more for that. That's too much work.
Who says include in the price, and if they want more changes, then the price goes up.
Yeah, fair enough.
I like writing poetry and sonnets. I wonder if people would pay for like customized sonnet. You know, it's like you tell me what you want the theme and like any names and stuff in it, and give me an hour and I'll write a sonnet for you or something. So
yeah, I don't know. That sounds like something AI could just steal from you. Getting back in the AI stuff.
don't get started. Don't get us started.
Anyways, yeah, AI. Good lord. Anyways.
A whole degree that's going to be completely useless in a few years.
No, no, you're fine. Like I said, I'm a writer and an artist. And both of those are being replaced as we speak.
The crazy part for me with all of that, like if we really want to go down, it's like how many people are going to be put out of work because of AI, and what is going to
Oh, yeah, I think like it is one of those like again with like I wonder when like assembly lines became a thing, if people were like screw you assembly lines. It's like
yeah.
because like people used to like hand make things, and then they just turned into like your job is to screw in this one screw for 8 hours a day. It's like I don't know. Like I think like I assume it was like kind of a similar like misery, but
Well, that's where the word
I hope
Luddite
they can
comes
stop
from.
AI.
The
So
Luddite movement, where you know about Luddites.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's where that came from during the Industrial Revolution. So
Yeah, resist, fight the power. um, but again, where's this like I feel like sorry, now we're getting full into AI, guys. Sorry, but as this is like to me like assembly lines. I think like there is definitely again like the whole art thing. There is definitely some art in some of the stuff that like assembly lines took away. but it's just like, to me, it's just like, why would you use AI to take away art? Like, why are you using it to like generate pictures?
I'm
It's like,
looking at
like,
yours. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
oh no, I was just gonna say, like, why would you? I don't understand using it to take away creativity. Doesn't make sense to me.
I'm very happy with the placement of that hand because I was looking at your wire, your stick draw, your stick person or whatever it is there.
Yeah.
And until you put the hand and the arm in there, I was like, are you doing an OnlyFans stick person?
Quit talking about OnlyFans.
Or do I need to put
Guys.
some blurring up on the image there? Or,
I'm trying to. I just decided to start trying, like, you talking about, like, oh, you got to keep, or I don't know, maybe you said, I feel like you said that, where it's like you got to draw things like more in motion.
yeah.
Where it's just like, I'm gonna like try and like, I think, no, this is who am I pretending to draw? Shellhead? No, it kind of looks like what? Somewhat like this final figure of old Shellhead. I assume that means Iron Man.
Yes.
Just the way his costume looks like. I'm pretty sure this is Iron Man. I have literally never referred to as Shellhead before.
Iron Man in the 60s. That was like the name they had was Shellhead. So.
Yeah. Oh, but the final thing, because I was like looking at this figure, I'm like, what's going on? Where's the elbow? This has like, I don't know. I guess, is this still foreshortening when like something's going into the distance? Like, I guess it's still like technically the shoulder and everything is closer.
No,
so, like,
foreshortening is when it's coming towards you.
Yeah, but then this one where it's like, here, I'll show you this picture. So it's like, oh, so like technically, so I'm drawing this arm.
Yeah.
So like technically he is coming closer to me. So like the whole thing is, or like his shoulders being foreshortened. I was just like, I actually don't know, but it feels like I'm drawing it in like reverse. And I'm just like drawing like the outline of it. I'm not going full crazy here, but like, because it does, it's like, where is his elbow? And like technically his elbow's like there. Just, oh.
And so supposedly, I think that I've read somewhere there's like some way that you could kind of figure out, like in 3D space, how long or short something should be based on where you think it's supposed to be. But like by drawing like a cube around what you're drawing or whatever, and then you can make it's almost like a little grid and it allows you to figure it out. But I've tried to do it and I'm like, yeah, it sounds good in theory, but I still think that there's an art here.
Yeah, whereas again, so like in theory, like to draw an arm, it should be like, but again, foreshortening is insane because like this would be like, so like, and again, like if it's coming like right at you, like it's like let's move it down a little. Like, say this is the shoulder. It's like, is this the hand? And then this is like the box, and then I guess yeah. So like somehow you have to draw like there's like a whole
right.
Like, there's an elbow, I guess, there, and then like this would be like the wrist, I guess, somehow. Oh, Nem, is this working? Kind of feels like it's working a little bit, and then it's like.
But doesn't it feel like sometimes when you draw stuff like that, it just doesn't look right, until it's done? So like, one of the things I like to draw is architecture, like 3-point perspective and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I could do it, but it's like I kind of have to trust the process because a lot of times, like the buildings and the angles and stuff, they just look wrong. I'm like, that can't be, so.
But it is like, again, the way that I drew this, there's like too many lines now. But like technically the shoulders here, and like you wouldn't see most of this, but like this accidentally, I think maybe just worked. Do you remember when Shadia was on and she had like she basically like had like her shoulder and then she did this like this kind of thing. I haven't run across it, but she basically like since I haven't done the deep dive into like foreshortening, I guess, yet. But she had this like big spiral thing she did.
Yeah. I mean, I think foreshortening on simple images or simple shapes is pretty easy because you could draw like your cube or whatever, or your rectangle, 3D object, and put that in there and you could figure it out pretty easy. It's like when you start doing stuff though, like shoulders and everything else, it's like it's probably just practice. A lot of it though. So.
Well, unfortunately, isn't that it? It's just like it's probably just practice. Yes, yes, it is.
Let's see, Lou
Like,
says, I think the expectations of AI art, say that 3 times fast, could send people back. Could send people back to human-made art. AI is becoming a style of its own and can become kind of boring. AI is feeding itself AI images at this point. Agreed. I don't know. Like I was telling Lloyd before the show, I've experimented with some stuff with writing. Like I've put my samples of my writing into a AI engine and fed it a fair amount of stuff so it had an idea of my writing style. And then you could just ask it to write a story like with one sentence based on your writing style, and it comes out and it's crap,
yeah.
But like I've fed it like detailed an outline of like a chapter or a short story or something and said, based on my writing style, like flesh this out. And it was not bad, it wasn't, it's like, it's not something that I would be like, oh, well, it's done. Now it's going out to people. It would be like, well, it's I guess if I wanted to, I could use it as a tool to give myself a baseline, then to start editing and rewriting from there. But like I was telling you before the show, it's like, it feels like cheating too, though. So
Yeah. Well, and like I think it'd be so easy to just go down that slippery slope where it's like, oh yeah, I'm just like again, like AI's new, so I totally understand like wanting to kind of like experiment with it and see what it can do, blah blah blah. Like I don't know. It's like it's all complicated and stuff. But I also seem like you can like, oh, I just want to experiment it with it. Like, oh, just like help it brainstorm. Like, oh, just it could do an outline for me. I'm like, oh, it can like write this whole thing for me. Right? Like it's just like you can go so far way too far with it. Like I know I recently saw like there's some stuff online, I guess, where it was basically like there's some authors who got caught with their books where basically their prompt
I
their
saw that.
prompt was still in there. So
That was bad.
which is like, yeah, it's just like, come on, it's just like, I don't know. There's always like there's tools and stuff, and it's just like,
I'll
I
tell you
don't
the
know,
one thing I did find
slippery slopes.
that I'll tell you now, I'm planning on using the next time I finish something. I'm going to use it. I feel bad for editors, but putting stuff in and asking it to edit for grammar and punctuation and stuff like that, it does a really good job and it's really fast. So
Well, again, where it's just like so before AI came out, the Grammarly was so big, and Grammarly was like very close to that, where you could like basically upload your entire manuscript and this like find, and like you could pay for it to do more stuff and all that stuff, where it's just like the basic ones, you're like spelling and like, and you like pick the, like I know even for like I used it like especially for like because I was writing for the UK and I was like grew up, even though Canada, like we use like a lot of our spellings are very similar to the UK. We're so tied to the US that I typically would just default to writing like wouldn't put the U's and things and stuff and color or whatever. But then when I was writing for the UK, so like a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't like drilled into me that you got to have the U's in there. Like I like put it in just like, can you like, basically it found all of like the places I'd missed the British spellings for American spellings. So like stuff like that was useful. But then you can like pay, you could always pay to upgrade, and it's just like edit for tone, edit for like I want it to sound assertive. Like it was already like pretty close. And then all of a sudden it was like someone flipped the switch, and now it's just like, and now Grammarly I think fully has like a completely integrated AI thing. So
Isn't that weird though? It's like I used to have a hard time in school because when I started reading, like my mom had tons of books that I would read, and a lot of them were like books that were either printed in the United States with the original British spellings and everything, or books from the UK and stuff like that. So like I read The Future King and all that really young. And so I would spell things with the British spellings in school, and it's like, it didn't work out well. It's like COLORE,
yeah. I know. I know there's a few things recently where I was like there's certain things where I like so even manga and manga, I probably would look it up and it would just be like you can pronounce it both ways. But same thing. So like I know I recently looked up like coyote versus coyote and like
Mm.
Caribbean versus Caribbean. And so I'm just like I need this like I need the definitive answer once and for all how to say this. And basically both of them are like you can say it both ways. So now I just always do the thing where like same thing whenever I say manga, I go manga manga. I feel like which is stupid. Like obviously I should pick something. And like Caribbean and coyote I don't like typically pick two, but
Yeah.
like I just like what I just did, I just pick one. But like I'm not consistent with it. I don't think.
I'm trying to remember, but I think coyote is the way we say it in the Southwest, and it's like the anglicized version of the original Spanish word, which is coyote. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I don't know.
I don't
English
know.
and language is so
I could be
weird.
talking out of my booty there. So,
Talking out of the booty.
yeah, cleaned it up. That's the PG-13 version.
I'm just talking about pirates and their booty.
Oh, my dog is watching the kitten show.
Oh, I find again I'm like not going like full with like drawing these things, but I
Mm.
actually find this like there's certain kind of art that's very therapeutic. Drawing shapes. Sorry, I'm up here now. I moved my thing down. Drawing shapes and just like joints and sticks is quite therapeutic. I kind of just feel like I'm just like la 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 la.
That's me with. I like to draw fonts, like letters. So
Yeah.
I used to do that in school all the time when I was bored. I would like draw words and stuff like that. I guess if you're good at it, there's probably, or at least there was before AI, you know, there was a market for that. Is that like graphic design that's doing that kind of stuff? Selling it? So,
Oh yeah. When again, like I know like I use Canva mostly just for like marketing materials or like marketing graphics. Um but like it's fully integrated with AI and stuff too now, so it's like I don't know.
I was a full D&D nerd. I used to always like write my name with various swords in place of stuff and all sorts of stuff. So,
Now, have you ever considered being a letterer? Like,
I
because I
have.
know a lot of people who write also letter
I would
for
like to
whatever
try
reason.
that. So I really would. So
Yeah. Have you like tried doing it before?
no, I guess I should just try it. I've also tried. I like coloring stuff, which is what I was working on before you came on the show. I was gonna try and color
Yeah.
some pages and see how it turns out. So instead of paying for a colorist on one of the things I'm working on, if it works out okay, just doing the colors and the lettering myself. So
Yeah. Yeah, like I think it feels like it should be doable. Like I've
yeah,
started to like the more digital art I can do, and I know quite a few people who like again George and Lori both write and do their own lettering.
yeah. Well, with
So
with digital tools, it seems like coloring is very doable. Like I used to paint all the time. The reason I don't do it now is because my hands really aren't that steady because of other health issues.
yeah,
And the stuff I was painting was really small. But digital, you can do all of that stuff much easier. And then
yeah,
lettering, I love drawing that stuff, so it would be worth a try. In fact, I really think it's something I would like to try and do. I'd even like to
yeah,
try to get into inking a little bit, but that's more difficult. So
yeah, yeah, for sure. But I do think it would be like I'm intrigued by it. But again, like one of the things whenever I'm like trying to like is like again for ASAP we have to like approve final covers and like a lot of the artists aren't like letterers because like it's its own skill. So
yeah,
like you kind of like and I'm just go based off of feel where I'm just like, oh yeah, we need to like change up this like title or whatever for whatever reason it doesn't match like I feel like I'm one of those people. I'm like it doesn't match the vibe. It's like what does that even mean? It's just like I don't know, it just doesn't match the vibe. It's like we gotta like pick a new font. But it's just like even with like marketing materials, I feel like I can like spend like way too long just agonizing over font, which is like why I would potentially not enjoy lettering because but then I guess if you can like make it your own artsy style rather than choosing a font, Like if you can just draw your font,
I mean,
maybe that's easier.
Most artists don't even like doing the coloring. You know, most of them just want to do pencils and inks, and that's it.
Yeah.
And if you get inks, you're lucky. You know, a lot of artists just want to do the one drawing. So
yeah,
I think it gets too expensive if you're trying to get an artist to do pencils and inks together. You know, or two separate people doing pencils and inks, because the inker needs to make some sort of living. You know, so it's going to be more expensive than if you get an artist doing both. So
yeah. I feel everyone. I've been copying a whole bunch of the poses. This one I did my own. I made up a new pose. Look at me! I'm learning, and I'm breaking from just copying other people's stuff.
It's the frog pose.
So. It's the frog pose. Well, I just one of these, like a couple of these. I think this one, like, where is it? Like way down here. This is Spider-Man. Like which one? That was Iron Man. But like this one, I was like, so Spider-Man inspired me with like just when he like perches on top of like flagpoles and stuff. Yep. So I'm gonna draw some Spider-Man poses. So yeah. I feel like so we're almost out of time. I should mention we still have a Kickstarter going. Of course I don't have the link up as always. I feel like that should be Nem's cue to just madly searching.
Hold on.
Was that your cue?
Yes, it was. Keep talking.
I believe there are 2 days left, possibly, because I believe there's 2 days left. So maybe, and it might just be today and tomorrow. So you are running out of time to back it. There are so many cool things out there. We are taking 2 of our comic book characters, and they're creating a short film. I wish I would want to do it all as well, Lou. There's only so many hours in a day. But yeah, the conversation, it takes 2 of our characters. Sir Robert Ward, or the Dead Knight, is basically driven mad from the event. And then Foe can absorb kinetic energy, and he was experimented on, and they're both basically on the run and fugitives. And they meet each other and kind of in like an alley and stuff. So, and it's kind of like what happens in the lead up there and all the tension and stuff. So it's like, I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be like legit. Like the people that we've partnered with, like Ben from Bad Mosquito Films, like it's like, I feel like there's there's a certain like amateur movie style where it's just like, it's not going to be campy. I feel like it's going to be like, I got a lot of faith in this.
If this one pans out, the next movie is Maisie the Demonic Doll goes to an old house and meets Dr. Frankenfurter. So, you know.
Dr. Frankenfurter. Fair enough. Yeah, no, it's really cool that we're like sneaking into film and stuff. So, and you can get digital rewards, or the digital copies, DVDs, VHS if you're old and nostalgic, or young and nostalgic. And then there's like
link, so
yeah. And then one of my favorite things, you can get like a producer credit, but there's like there's a whole in like the world, there's a whole bunch of missing posters, just because like a whole bunch of people went missing during the event, whether they're dead or just missing. So you can basically pledge to get a cameo as a missing post. Like you can get your face on a missing poster person that'll show up in the film. And I'm just like, I want this. It's just like, I'll just be backing on the lab. It's like, it's not technically my campaign, so I can back it. It's the ASAP campaign.
Exactly.
But yeah, please check it out.
I want a poster of myself in there, but it says, "Please do not find." So.
Please do not find. Presumed dead. Quit looking for it. Quit looking for him. Yeah. We killed him. Quit looking for him.
So, if you don't want to type all that in, just go to Kickstarter and type in the conversation. It'll show up immediately. So,
it's actually easier. It's actually easier to type in ASAP Comics UK. I think that there's the conversation, like those words appear in like enough other projects that it like is harder to find. But ASAP Comics UK it's very unique.
I know if you go to Google right now and type in conversation Kickstarter, you are top of the list. So.
Oh, there you go. Yes, that Google knows. Google knows that we're the best. Kickstarter's like, oh, I gotta be fair to everyone. Come on, Kickstarter. Anyways, So next week, I think we don't have a guest again. So I don't know, maybe I'll draw hands or something. At some point, I got to start designing my characters, but I think I'm going to delay it a little bit more. Um, and I should actually like, there's some other things that could be like, obviously, we've talked about a billion different potato stickers now. Basically, have to draw the whole Justice League, the Justice League, the Suicide Squad, the Avengers, the new Avengers.
Harley Potato. So
Harley Potato. Yes. But yeah, so like I could just spend forever just drawing
yes,
potato stickers, but maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should also try and finish my comic.
maybe you
And
should draw potatoes of potatoes. You know, get really meta. So like potatoes with potato action figures. So yeah.
you know what? I could also save all of the stuff. Like, I think because I want to bring this to Kickstarter. I think I could have one of the rewards. Like, I will draw you a commission of all the Justice League as potatoes.
Yes.
I think maybe that's what I. As fun as those would be to just put out, I don't have like a whole bunch of like cons and stuff, but I need stickers, more stickers right now. So maybe I save some things for special custom commissions for people who want Justice League potatoes. Whoever those weird people are. But
My basic flyer needs to be on wine battles for my friends.
are you saying that your friends don't all drink milk? Or go outside? Just palpate. I haven't left my house in 15 years. I didn't know Lou was missing. All right. I feel like I'm losing my voice, so I should just go. Okay.
Right.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Same potato channel, same potato time.
See you, everybody. Bye bye.